In times of struggle, we must remember those who carve their own path. The movers, the shakers, the lollipop makers. Those who look at the world around them and say, no, that's not good enough. Those who won't cop out when there's danger all about. They are the Faces of Virtue! Greetings and welcomes, dear listeners, to the second episode of this Crowley Time mini-series, where Tom Crowley, profile the great and the good who have taken the bull by the horns and driven the bull to a better place. Like a nice green meadow or something, not heaven. Our change agent for this week is a woman named Grace Dibbins of Little Rackham in Somerset, who saw injustice approaching at speed and shot it dead in its tracks with a metaphorical gun made of action. Many thanks to Lucy Farrett for putting us in touch with Grace. Hello, Grace.
Hello there, Tom.
Hi. Yes, Tom, that's right. Hi, Grace. Hey, can you hear me okay?
I think so. Yes, I'm not used to this.
Are you not much of a video call fan? You don't use much technology in your day-to-day life?
No, I prefer to see someone's face very up close, actually.
Well, if you look at the screen, you'll see my face there.
You are there, but I would prefer you physically in front of me, but never mind.
Yes, I'm here to speak to you today because I understand you're quite the community activist. You've made some real positive change in your town. Tell us about the place you live. Tell us about your town.
Little Rackham?
Yes.
Yes, down in Somerset. Yes, Little Rackham. I grew up there. My family has lived there for generations. And, yes, we've definitely been known as mavericks of the town, making sure order and, frivolity can take place in a kindly fashion. And, we do take care of everyone in our village very well. Yes, we've been
order
there.
And frivolity in a kindly fashion. That's on your family crest, isn't it?
It is actually. Yes, it is. It's a crest of a pigeon, standing on one leg. Wearing a top hat. And it's actually been added to over the years.
Yes.
By the Victorians mainly in the top hats.
So the pigeon wasn't hatted before?
No, the pigeon was naked before.
Oh dear. Well, that's more of a Victorian value to cover up the pigeon's head.
Yes, exactly.
So for generations, you say, in Little Rackham. So how far back does this go, do you know?
Oh, back to medieval times, I'm told. I think we are mentioned in the Doomsday Book.
Oh.
And in fact, my I don't know, great. I do have how many greats it is somewhere in a bottom of a drawer. But my so and so great grandmother, actually, we do believe the village was named after her.
Really? That's
yes,
fascinating.
because she did have a little rack, apparently.
Oh.
Yes, which, some people think is distasteful, but we all find it quite fun. So,
okay.
Go Granny and her little rack.
So
yes.
The town of Little Rackham, well, right.
Yes, of small breasts, Tom.
Yes, no, I understand. Anyway, so what other sort of family lineage do you have in Little Rackham other than the possible breast-themed naming of the town? Well,
all sorts of heroes, actually, in the family, those who have done good for the village over time. We do care for the village deeply, very deeply, so deeply that, in fact, that an uncle actually has dug a very deep hole many years ago, and that is the hole that all the children in the village do use as a sort of swimming pit. And it's lovely on a summer's day. It really is. You just have to have a good shower after.
There's no easy way to ask this, so I'll just come straight out with it. Do any authoritative bodies know about the swimming pit? Has that been checked?
Oh yes, the council at Little Rackham. Yes, it's all been noted down in the notes. And it came up in the agenda about whether we should note it down for legal reasons, and we did. And so you can go and check it out in the filing system down in the hall. Right. It's all there. It's all legal. It's all legal, Tom.
Okay, and there've been no illnesses reported from any of the children.
Oh, a little rash here and there, but who's counting?
Well, fair enough.
I also have a very, very famous, very famous. He was in the paper, actually. My great-grandfather, this was. Yes, he was some sort of hero because he actually saved a chicken from a murderer.
Sorry, he saved a... Did the murderer own the chicken?
Well,
was he a murderer of chickens? I just think there's more details.
Yes, I see how you might be confused by such a simple story, Tom. But my great grandfather, Charlie Ping Dibbons, Ping was a sort of nickname. He sort of had
Charlie
a sort of ping, yes.
Dibbons.
He sort of made a ping sound with his bell as he used to wave to the children in the pit actually, and they called him Mr. Ping. So it sort of stuck.
Charlie Ping, right?
Yes,
okay. So Charlie Ping's your great grandfather.
Yes, Charlie Ping Dibbons.
I'm with you so far.
Yes, and he there was a local murderer. You see, where there were rumours going round that a few older members of the community were going missing. Some thought that they'd just gone on a very long walk, but actually, my great-grandfather, Charlie Ping Dibbons, he actually thought, no, there's something fishy going on here. So he investigated, followed the murderer in question, a man called...
alleged murderer at this point.
Paul Brown. His name was Paul Brown.
Paul Brown.
What a sad name. Paul Brown. Very boring. Anyway, he saw that some chickens had also gone missing. He followed him over the course of a few days, discovered he'd been stealing these chickens, and he'd been feeding the latest corpses to the chickens. Yes.
So hang on, his victims had become chicken feed?
Yes, they had.
All right.
So and Charlie thought, we can't have this chicken eating a corpse. Took the chicken, and then he reported obviously the crime, but he did take the chicken first. He was actually a staunch vegan, which was very rare in those days.
Yes, gosh, it really was. A quite progressive man then.
Very progressive.
Your great-grandfather, Charlie Ping Dibbons. So too late to save the human murder victims, just in time to save the chickens from eating the remains.
Yes, sadly too late for the old biddies of the village, but yes, there we go.
Well, you can't win every time.
No.
Never mind. Well, but to move on, so you yourself have generated quite a reputation for yourself and as a social activist and someone who does affect change in Little Rackham.
Thank you, Tom.
Tell us how that's come about.
Well, it has caused a bit of a sensation, if I do say so myself, recently. I have been part of a big rescue operation. Some have sort of named me the head of it, really. Exactly what I've done is we had a bit of a problem. We received a notice in the village on the Little Rackham notice board stating it was a notice from the Royal Mail, and it stated that they would be removing the Royal Mail post box from the bottom of the village. Now, Little Rackham is on quite a big hill, and there is a post box at the top of the village, and there is a post box at the bottom of the village. And the Royal Mail issued this notice saying they would be removing the post box from the bottom of the village. Now, there was outcry, uproar, Tom. Actual uproar. People were releasing tigers, lions, wild dogs.
Hang on, wait, sorry, the lions and tigers, where do they find... And who are they releasing them on? Sorry, this sounds
They
astonishing.
were just incensed. It was a riot. It was a protest, really. They thought, if you do not keep this Royal Mail post box here in the village of Little Rackham, then we're going to cause chaos. And someone's going to have to sort it out. I'm
just still stuck on the lions and the tigers. So is there a zoo, menagerie or something?
Oh, everyone's got one, Tom. Have you not been watching The Tiger King? Everyone's got one. Even I have been watching that.
Oh, right. So inspired by Tiger King, everyone's begun their own sort of tin pot zoo operation, keeping wild animals in.
Not even inspired, Tom. Not even inspired. People have had this stuff for years. It's an underground network. I mean, I don't approve. I never said I approve. But I'm afraid there's a lot of people.
But you do have your own collection of wild creatures.
A few wild dogs.
Right. So you and the people of Little Rackham on the hill, you had heard that the post box at the bottom of the village was going to be removed for collections.
Yes.
And you were so incensed by this that you released a sort of a cornucopia of wild animals in general, just into the village, or was this at council operatives or postal service workers?
Well, I will just remark to say I didn't release my pooches. However, many people did. And because they just didn't know what they were going to do. You've got to understand, Tom, that there are some very lazy people in Little Rackham. And they will not walk up the hill to that top post box. They won't do it.
They're very lazy. It's a very lazy town, I understand. Was perhaps this part of some council fitness scheme to get people active, get them running up the hill, like Kate Bush, to the post box at the top of the village to post their post? Was that maybe the intention, or was it cutbacks? What do you think happened?
Someone dropped the ball. That is what I think happened. Someone, I don't think it was the council, because I'm very tight with the council, actually. Right. And I'm very tight. I do my Pilates, and I've done the Couch to 5K with several council members. And I'm afraid that it's none of them. The Royal Mail dropped the ball, and they didn't think we were worth 2 Royal Mail post boxes. It's an actual disgrace.
What is the population of Little Rackham? Sorry, just before we judge the post office too harshly.
Oh, about 50.
There's 50 people in Little Rackham.
Yes, I think so.
And you're serviced by two post boxes.
Yes. It's just a disgrace. They couldn't. Also, there's some politics in the village, I'm afraid, Tom. There's some politics in the village. People don't like going up to the top of the hill. Because there's a bit of, I'm going to say it, and I know this is going to come back at me at a meeting soon, but yes, there is a bit of a class system going on.
So what I'm hearing from you now is, I'm just trying to confirm this mental image I'm developing. So you have the top of the hill. I'm thinking snooty.
Yes.
I'm thinking public services up there. They may soon have the only post box. And then sort of around the foothills of Little Rackham, you have the common man, the working man down there, and woman and others. And they all have private collections of wild African animals.
Yes.
Is this largely accurate so far?
Pretty much, yes. Yes. And
okay.
the people at the top, they hold these lavish balls, they hold them on the street, and they wave.
They hold balls on the street up there?
Yes. Big, lavish. It's like Strictly Come Dancing up there, Tom.
It's like Strictly Come Dancing. They're holding big balls on the street.
Yes, it is. I believe they've actually invited Craig Revel Horwood himself to one of these balls. It's ridiculous. And does anyone down the bottom get an invitation? No, we don't. So, unfortunately, this uproar, the squeals and howls of these wild animals at night, and, the way that people at the bottom were throwing things up to the top, they were obviously rolling down and hitting people. But people did try.
Where are you in this sliding social scale? Are you sort of nearer the bottom or the top? Where do you land?
I live quite close to the post box. But I live at the bottom. Definitely. Okay. Yes, I feel more comfortable down there, Tom. I don't like the sort of snobbery that goes on at the top. But I am a bit neutral in the village, I have to say. I do have some friends at the top. And so that is one of the main reasons that I thought I need to make sure that this post box is not removed from the bottom of the hill. I need to make sure that we have peace once again in Little Rackham. So that is why I enlisted the help of my friend Gary and I hired a forklift truck, and we thought we're going to get to that Royal Mail post box before they do. So very, very early on a Sunday morning, we picked it up. Very early on a Sunday morning, we hoisted it out of the concrete, and it's now living in my conservatory.
So this is incredible. So you find yourself at the risk of a developing class war between the foothills and the people at the top of Little Racken. And your solution, you and Gary, he's a local friend. He's from the bottom of the hill.
Oh, he doesn't actually live in the village.
Oh, all right. So you enlist an out-of-towner, Gary.
Yes. I did ask some other fellow villagers who live at the bottom with me, but you know what? Some of them had developed rabies. So, from the dogs.
The roaming bands of wild animals.
Yes. So some of them were unavailable to help, so I had to ask the ice cream man, Gary, who does service a few of the villages locally.
So you and Gary, the ice cream man, have reappropriated, shall we say, the postbox, and it's now just sitting in your conservatory? I mean, isn't that just as bad as if the council had removed it?
No. You see, Tom, because it is still in use. You see, Tom, I've stuck the postbox right up against the window in my conservatory, left a window open just at the point where the postbox slot meets the outside world, and people can just pop along and post their post.
So people are coming to your home and reaching through your window with their postal drop-offs. Is that not quite disruptive for you?
Do you know what? It's fine. I just have to make sure I've got my knickers on now when I do yoga in the morning.
And previously you wouldn't have bothered?
No.
Fine. Well, that's absolutely fascinating. And the reception's been positive from the town, or at least from the foothills of the town?
Very positive. Very positive. The collection times are all the same. It was last collection at 4:30. So I sort of close up the window at 4:30. And I take that moment to, get a sack of my own. I've had to go down to B&Q and purchase a sack. And I do then hand over the sack in the morning to my post person.
So the postal operative carrier comes to your front door to hand you your post, and in return you're handing over a colossal bulging sack of the villages, the lower villages' post.
Yes, I am. Yes, and they're not very happy.
Well, I suppose that's what this is all about. It's about civil disobedience. It's about righting wrongs in your local community. That's why we're speaking today, and sometimes that can come at a cost. Whether that be violence or wild animals being released or postal carriers taking against you to a certain degree. Well, this is amazing. So, but do you think this situation is sustainable? Will they continue to take the post that you give them, or do you think that a further solution might be needed, something more permanent?
Do you know what? I don't think so. They've been accepting a few bribes of mine, the post people, and
monetary bribes. Is just handing them money? Is that?
Flapjack here or there.
Well, I'm just going to leave that there. And has there been any resolution of the roving gangs of rabid animals in Little Racken? Has that been resolved in any way, or are they still just out there? Have they sort of formed a little colony? What's happening?
Yes, that is an unfortunate side effect. The dogs have formed a tribe. They have actually killed the tigers and lions. So, yes, we didn't realize quite how fierce the dogs actually could be. And that is a worrying side effect because they have started to terrorize the children in the pit every day.
The swimming pit. Yes, I'd forgotten about the swimming pit. Yeah. Dogs and children in a pit. Dangerous combination.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, actually. So, the children now do have to wear sort of a chainmail.
So they get into the swimming pit wearing chainmail to defend them from the rabid dogs that have formed a sort of dominant tribe that's now ruling the village of... Sorry, is it a town or a village? I've been...
Village.
It's a village, sorry. The village of Little Racken.
Basically.
Thank you. Right, interesting. Well... Putting all of that aside, how do you feel now? You've made this change. You've prevented the Royal Mail from removing the second letterbox from Little Racken. It's sitting in your conservatory. How do you feel? Is life good now? Do you feel you've really achieved something here?
Really? Yes, I have. It's maybe been one of the most fulfilling things I've done in my life. I
Wow.
mean, I have written, several books. Yes, I've climbed Everest. I have swam the Channel. I have done that thing where you sit in a bath full of baked beans for comic relief.
Beans, really? Oh.
Yes, and I've done all those things, but this has been the most fulfilling. And, I've now, I've become less lonely, Tom, if I'm going to be honest. I've become less lonely. That postbox is providing a great deal of comfort to me. Every day when I wake up, go in, give it a little stroke, have lunch with it. We've had several, candlelit dinners. And, Tom, you've never lived until you've stroked the slot of a postbox.
Well, I'll see what I can do, unless the Royal Mail removes my local postbox first.
I'll be there to help you, Tom. Just let me know.
Thank you.
You've got my number.
Well, Grace Dibbons, a local hero, a face of virtue. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. We are very happy. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Good day.
It takes all sorts to make a world, and far be it from me to chastise Grace for finding companionship, and maybe a little more, after risking life and limb to preserve a little bit of fairness in her community. There has been no further update on the situation with the wild animals, though I did hear a rumour that someone saw a puma in Bournemouth last Tuesday, so perhaps that's connected, I don't know. Once again, I'd like to thank Lucy Farrett for putting us in touch with Grace. Lucy is a phenomenal actor, writer and comedian who has staged some truly sensational one-woman comedy shows over the last few years, back when such things were possible. For the moment, she can be found on Twitter, @LucyFarrett. 2 R's and 2 T's. Make sure to go follow her there to keep up with all of her upcoming projects. Whatever she touches turns to gold. Thank you for stopping off in this second lay-by on the motorway of Crowley Time. We've got 2 more fortnightly instalments of Faces of Virtue still to come, and we'll return to our regularly scheduled programme shortly thereafter. If you've been enjoying this mini-series, why not let me know on Twitter @ATomCrowley. A reminder to my many wonderful and loyal Patreon supporters, I'm not charging any money for these episodes, as they're not regular episodes of Crowley Time, so you can keep your money in your pockets, mon ami. You can always sign up at patreon.com/CrowleyTime and enjoy all the bonus materials of times past. In the meantime, and I always appreciate my listeners' efforts to help spread the word about the show, so please do that thing. Another way you can help is by subscribing to the podcast feed and leaving a nice review for it wherever makes sense to you. I bloody love it when people do that. And make sure to check back in 2 weeks to meet another addition to our gallery of Faces of Virtue!